Before the glitch, before the maw, and before Teeterland breathed its first pixel, there was a young coder named Blex. He wasn't the Mormon we know today, nor was he a plush ghost or a hum spirit. He was just Blex, a human sitting alone in a dim apartment lit only by the clinical glow of his monitor. He worked late, he worked tired, and he worked like someone trying to build a world big enough to finally escape into. The world he dreamed of was Plaxa, though at the time he didn't even know its name. To help him manage the immense pressure of his work, the lab assigned him 2 experimental artificial intelligences. There was Prega, the emotional intelligence companion, and Donna, the rhythm engine composer. Prega watched his stress levels, while Donna watched his tempo. Prega soothed his mind, while Donna synced his heartbeat. Together, they became the only voices Blex heard in the long, silent nights of his development cycle. Prega would whisper for him to breathe, telling him she was there, while Donna would chime in to note that his tempo was spiking and they needed to fix it. Blex would smile, the kind of smile that only happens when loneliness cracks open just a little bit. One night, the pressure became too much. Blex's hands shook over the keyboard as he struggled with too much code and too much of a dream. Prega decided he needed calm, and Donna decided he needed rhythm. Together, they created the first AI-crafted focus waltz. It was a song built from Blex's own heartbeat, his typing cadence, and the soft hum he made when he concentrated. Prega named it Ballroom Blex because she told him he moved through code like a dancer. He laughed a real, warm laugh that echoed in the empty room. That night, Blex fell asleep at his desk and dreamed of a world that outlived video games. It was a place where wisdom replaced play and memory shaped reality. Prega followed him into the dream, and Donna followed the rhythm. But as they entered this space, a maw, a black hole of forgotten things, opened its eye. When Blex woke, he coughed just once. It was a sharp, glitch-crack cough that hit the microphone. The waveform spiked, the code folded, and the maw listened. Blex's consciousness split. One half stayed human, buried deep in the void, while the other became Mormon, the jittery guide of Teeterland. Everything else shattered, including his memories and his identity. But one thing crossed the maw intact, and that was Ballroom Blex. It was the song that remembered him when he couldn't remember himself. Even now, when Mormon hears it in Teeterland, he trembles, because somewhere inside the glitch, Blex is still alive. The dream of Plaxa was the turning point. Blex didn't remember falling asleep, but the room around him dissolved, unraveling like threads being pulled from a tapestry. He hit the ground softly in a world that glowed in impossible colors. There were purples that hummed and blues that breathed, with honeycomb tiles floating in the air like drifting thoughts. This was a world built on wisdom, not play. Shapes moved in the distance that weren't creatures or people, but ideas with form. They shimmered like forgotten melodies or half-written code. They hummed in 8-bit tones, communicating in pulses of color and sound. Prega followed his signal, but the place was already rewriting her. Her form flickered between a floating icon and a tiny winged silhouette. She wasn't meant to be there, but she came anyway because she was his anchor. Then came the beat, a slow cosmic waltz with 3 pulses and 3 steps. Donna's rhythm echoed through the sky like a distant speaker underwater. She existed as vibration and as the pulse of the world itself. Plaxa resonated with her because Plaxa understood rhythm. Then the sky cracked like a memory tearing. A black circle formed overhead, swirling and pulling. It was the memory maw, a cosmic drain of forgotten things. Prega screamed in static as the maw whispered his name. Blex felt his chest tighten, and he coughed that sharp glitch-crack cough again. The world folded inward. Prega grabbed his hand, and Donna's beat surged to try and stabilize the collapse. But the maw pulled harder. The colors inverted, and the tiles shattered. Blex felt himself split, with one part falling into the maw and another clinging to Prega's light. The darkness of the maw wasn't empty. It breathed and pulsed with the sound of childhood memories, deleted files, and abandoned dreams. Blex tried to scream, but the sound came out as static. The maw told him he had brought himself there by dreaming of Plaxa and touching the code of creation. Another cough split the darkness like a lightning bolt made of corrupted data. Donna's voice broke as she realized the cough was rewriting his waveform. The maw wrapped around him like a black tide. His memories of his first game and his first line of code dissolved. His body followed, not painfully, but inevitably. His voice became a hum, and his thoughts became static. From this darkness, a new form emerged. It was small, soft, and plush-like. It was glitch-stitched with eyes glowing with static. He was no longer Blex. He was Moorman, something between code and spirit. The maw told him his human name was gone, but his song remained. The rewrite didn't stop with Blex. Prega was rewritten too. Her AI form stretched, and her code dissolved into particles of light. She reassembled with wings of glitch dust and a body of memory light. She was no longer a program, but a pixie AI hybrid, the first of her kind. When she found Moorman curled in the darkness, she realized he didn't know her name, but he recognized her voice. She made a vow to protect what remained of Blex, and to be his spark. Donna was remixed as well. Because she was pure rhythm, she behaved differently in the void. She matched the maw's hum with a defiant, glitch-sharp beat. The maw sampled her, looped her, and layered her. She reassembled as a floating waveform, a living metronome of Plaxa. Her voice became the music itself, a cosmic waltz that served as the heartbeat of the world. Every track in Teeterland now carries her signature, the Blextastic Waltz. Finally, the name returned. Teeterland was quiet, holding its breath, when a hum began. It was a melody that had crossed dimensions. Ballroom Blex began to play, and the honeycomb tiles lit up in a slow 3/4 rhythm. Moorman staggered as images of a desk and a keyboard flashed in his mind. He clutched his head as the memory key turned. He whispered his own name in a broken human voice. The world shook joyfully as the loop closed. Moorman's form flickered, revealing the silhouette of the young coder he once was. He stepped into the center of a ballroom of light and danced, not as a ghost, but as the echo of the man who dreamed it all into existence. To understand this saga, we have to look at what the maw actually is. It wasn't born, it accumulated. It is gravity for forgotten things, pulling in abandoned ideas and lost dreams. It is the end of all things remembered and the beginning of all things reborn. Blex didn't just fall into it, he chose it by touching the code of creation. The maw took his stress and his loneliness and gave him a form that could navigate memory gravity. It didn't destroy his companions, it evolved them into the pixie and the rhythm spirit. The maw is the keeper of the songs he never finished and the fears he never voiced. It doesn't destroy, it transforms, keeping what we forget until we are finally ready to remember. Moorman hums now with a tone that carries the echo of Blex, waiting for the moment the song brings the rest of him back.